So again, this is really the first time that he has appeared in an Ohio courtroom since his arrest. We do have reporter Lacey Crisp. She was in that courtroom for that very quick hearing. So we're going to try to get into with her in just a few moments. But let's bring you back up to speed with how this all took place. Again, as we know, the Tepes were found December 30th. This was inside their Wineland Park home.
Michael Mckee just appeared remotely for his arraignment in Columbus. He's accused of his ex-wife, Monique Tepe, and her husband, Spencer. Mckee was taken into custody in Illinois earlier this month after a 10-day manhunt.
Michael Mckee, we all know who he is, the one that's accused of unaliving Spencer and Monique Tepe. Well, we all know that he went back to work after that, right? And he started working on patients. Well, guess what happened to the last patient? I'm going to tell you all about it. Fugitive TV. Welcome to another episode of Fugitive TV. I am your host, Ray Marcel, where we also take a look at these cases, sometimes unsolved cases of missing people and cases like what we're going to talk about today. And we take a look at them from a different perspective because I was once a fugitive on the run from the law myself. But right now, we're going to get back into the Monique and Spencer Tepe situation, okay? And we all know exactly what happened with them. We all know that Michael Mckee is accused of unaliving both of them, of breaking into their home, or we don't know if he broke in or they let him in, and he basically pew-pewed them to death, okay? And the children are still alive. So we all know the details of what happened. And if you don't, I've made like 3 other videos on the situation. So you guys can go back and take a look at all of them in case you don't know the full situation, okay? Because at first we didn't even know who the person was. Well, I did. For you guys that's been following me, you know from the get-go, I said it was the ex-husband. Michael Mckee is Monique Tepe's ex-husband, okay? And her new husband, Spencer, was a dentist. Well, Michael Mckee is a surgeon. Her ex-husband, Michael Mckee, is a surgeon. So both of them are doctors. Michael Mckee was a vascular surgeon, all right? Well, he has been deported. He's back in Ohio right now. He's in Ohio, so he's in county jail in Ohio. Today was his arraignment. So I'm going to show you guys the arraignment video. It's very short. He didn't really say anything, but he has hired a new lawyer, okay? I'm going to show you who this lawyer is because this lawyer already has taken on a high-profile case out of Ohio from the past, and that person was a doctor too, and she got him acquitted of his charges, all right? So Michael is going to be hoping for the same thing, that she can do the same thing and give him the same results. Well, in case you don't know, after the unalivings happened with Spencer and Monique Tepe, Michael Mckee went to Illinois, made that 7-hour drive or 8-hour drive, whatever it is, back to Illinois. Sorry, you guys corrected me in my last video. Even though there's an S at the end of Illinois, I guess you pronounce it Illinois, but I've been pronouncing it Illinois. You know what? I never knew that that S was silent. Never knew. So I might say Illinois because I'm just used to saying Illinois. I'm from California. I'm originally a California kid. So I mean, Illinois was what a lot of us would say. But so he went back to Illinois and Rockford, Illinois, actually went to work and started working on patients immediately, right when he went back, okay? And then he left work, went to Chick-fil-A and got arrested at a Chick-fil-A. Well, I got confirmation that allegedly his last patient that he was working on, this patient was going through a 10-hour procedure, okay? The last patient that he was working on has passed away. Not only that, this patient was never released after the surgery to go back home. So the patient was never released to go back home, and the patient has passed away. And not only that, I guess there's some details where the family now has to come up with, supposedly, I don't know if it's true or not, but now they have to pay for their own autopsy because of something that wasn't done right. I'm going to show you guys the information on how it's read correctly. And maybe you guys can know a little about this that's in the medical field, all right? So let's take a look.
Now, according to Columbus Police, there were no signs of forced entry or weapons found at the scene.
And those kids now, they're a 1-year-old boy and a 4-year-old girl. On January 2nd, just before 6 p.m., Columbus Police released this video. They say it showed a person of interest walking in the alley near the Tepe's home between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. Michael Mckee was arrested 8 days later in Illinois.
And really, that video and how he was arrested based on the video and then a car that was at the scene all led us up to this moment now where Michael Mckee again in court today in Columbus facing those 5.
All right, so this is True Crime Mama on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, go follow her. She has a lot of good stuff on there. And what she posted was, it gets a little more into detail of what I told you guys, okay? Because not many people are talking about this. It says the gentleman who went on an almost 10-hour surgical procedure on January 8th, performed by Dr. Mckee, has passed away yesterday. So he passed away yesterday. He was never discharged from the hospital after this surgery. This was after Dr. Mckee allegedly unalived his ex-wife Monique and her husband Spencer Tepe. It was 2 days before he was arrested. So remember, he was arrested, I believe, on January 10th, and he was operating on this person January 8th. Now, I do know that after they found Spencer Monique, they already suspected it was him. And what they did was, I do remember reading a report where they did call the hospital on January 8th to see where Michael Mckee was at. So as they're talking to the hospital to see if he was working and where he was at, Michael Mckee was probably working on this patient right here. Almost 10-hour procedure, okay? And then let's not forget, Michael spent 4 hours driving to Ohio and going back. I'm sorry, 14 hours. 14 hours driving to Ohio and back. So he made a round trip from Illinois to Ohio and back, a whole round trip, 14 hours. He didn't go back to sleep. He went right back to work, working on a patient. No sleep whatsoever. So let's not forget that. Okay. Now it says, she says, if you recall, I shared a little bit about this patient last week and stated that there was no operative note in his chart, according to his family. So there was no operative note in his chart. So for you people that's in the medical field, all right, if you don't mind describing what an operative note is, so that way people watching this video can read your comment and possibly like it, and, that way we all get an idea of what an operative note is. I figure I'll let one of you guys, let us know if you're in that field, let us know what operative note is. So there was no operative note in the chart. I'm thinking, correct me if I'm wrong, that an operative note is probably, if I'm using common sense, notes, that happened during the operation. So whoever's operating on the patient probably took notes of the procedure, what happened, if there's any complications, if it went good, things like that. That's what I'm thinking it is. So correct me if I'm wrong. So, but there was no operative note. His family told me today that the operative note has now been completed by another individual. The family states the hospital is telling them it will cost the family $10,000 for an autopsy. This is really unbelievably sad. This family needs legal advice. If anyone can help out who was licensed in Illinois or Illinois, just be clear. I am not suggesting the hospital did anything wrong. This is terrible and extremely unique situation for many people. It is just never a bad idea to get legal advice. So, is this the hospital's fault or not the hospital's fault? And right here it says that an operative note, okay? An operative note has now been completed by another individual. So, right there, operative note has been completed by another individual. Now, is it possible for another surgeon or another doctor to do the operative note? Is that possible? You guys let me know, because if that surgeon wasn't there, how would they do an operative note? I don't know. Unless maybe Mckee had assistants in there and one of them did the notes. Please let me know if you have any experience with this. And they're saying the family has to pay $10,000 now for an autopsy. That is Completely insane. Now, I'm going to tell you guys about the lawyer, okay? So, surgeon ex-husband accused in Ohio dentist slayings retains high-profile lawyer. The surgeon accused of gunning down his ex-wife and her dentist husband inside their Ohio home has retained a local defense attorney who previously worked on another high-profile case. All right. Michael Mckee is now being represented by Diane Minishi. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. Diane Minishi, as he faces 4 counts of aggravated M, each with firearm charges, according to court documents. Okay. It says Minishi has worked as an attorney for 27 years and currently manages her own firm, Minishi Law Group website. We're going to put that in Google and take a look at that too. She previously represented Dr. William Hosel, an Ohio doctor who was acquitted in 2022 on all 14 counts of the M, unaliving, after prosecutors accused him of prescribing excessive pain medication to his patients in Columbus-based Mount Carmel Health System. All right. During Husserl's trial, his defense team called one witness to the stand, a Georgia anthologist who testified that Husserl's patients died from medical conditions, not from the doctor's actions. He was acquitted on all charges in April 2022 after a jury deliberated for more than a week. Wow, they deliberated for a week. For a week. Wow, it's crazy. So this is his new attorney right there. And we're going to take a look. This is supposed to be her own firm, right? I mean, she's got good reviews. There's only 15 reviews, but she's got good. And that's her right here. Oh, she's been on Court TV, which I watch all the time. Long Crime, okay. Well, now we know who his lawyer is. So remember, we were wondering if he was able to afford an attorney or get a court-appointed attorney or public defender. Well, this answered the question. Maybe he was saving this whole time to get an attorney because he knew what he was going to do.
We're on the record. Make your appearance. Call your first case, please.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Stephen Schott, Dan Letter, Shayla Faber for the state. First case before the court, State of Ohio versus Michael Mckee, is 26 CR 253. There are 5 counts. 4 counts of aggravated unclassified felonies and 1 count of aggravated burglary, felony 1. Each of these counts come with a 3 and a 6-year firearm specification.
Thank you. Counsel, please make your appearance.
Thank you, Your Honor. Diane Manashi on behalf of Michael Mckee.
Thank you.
Your Honor, with respect to the allegations, we would acknowledge receipt, waive reading, enter not guilty pleas to all counts contained therein. We would also waive bond at this time, although we certainly reserve the right to raise that at a later date. The plea of not guilty form has been executed and signed on behalf of my client. Nothing further.
Thank you, Counsel. I've signed the not guilty plea. I'm signing the bond form indicating that bond has been waived. Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Next case, please.
His attorney, Diane Manashi, appeared on his behalf and entered a not guilty plea. She also waived bond. That basically means they're going to kick that can down the road. They'll deal with it later. But today, the biggest news that we expected from his hearing back in Rockford, that he anticipated that he would plead not guilty. Today, he entered that not guilty plea in court. Now we'll wait to hear when the next court hearing will be held.
He hired Diane Manashi as his defense attorney. This is a person that is well known in the Columbus area because obviously Manashi was a high-profile attorney.
Yeah, so I think if you're from the Columbus area, when you think of death penalty cases, capital cases, any of those really high-profile cases in the past, she represented Quentin Smith, who was found guilty of killing the 2 Westerville police officers. She represented Dr. William Husel. She represented Goolsby, in the Reagan Tokes case. A lot of those really high-profile cases that we've had here in Columbus, in Franklin County, in the last 10 or 15 years, Diane Manashi has been a part of the defense on all of those cases.
And I don't know if you noticed, but Michael Mckee's lawyer also waived the bond, waived rights to bond, or the bond hearing, I should say. You don't see that much a lot of times. A lot of clients want to fight for bond to get out, but they can waive the bond hearing rights, okay? And the way that usually works, or sometimes why they would waive their rights, is one, when you have a bond hearing, sometimes your lawyers or the defendants will have to say, exactly why you should get a bond. And then the prosecutors will come back with maybe some sort of evidence, right, of why you shouldn't have a bond. Like he's a danger, this is what he did, such and such. They're going to give more evidence out there, okay? The prosecution is going to put more things out in the air, you should say. Sometimes the defendants don't want those things to be out in the air. And then not only that, the defendant has to reply back to that, and rebuttal. Well, a lot of times the defendants don't want, or I should say the lawyer for the defendant does not want the prosecution or anybody to know what their defense might be. So when you have a defendant who a lot of times may be a flight risk, dangerous society, or maybe even has a low chance of getting bond in the first place. When you have a bond hearing and all that evidence comes out, it's not the whole evidence, but some of that stuff will come out and the lawyer says deny, then you're going to have to appeal to get another bond hearing. So right now, since they waived it, that does not mean they don't have to they can still go for a bond hearing. They can still go do it. But this tactic sometimes plays in the defendant's hand or the lawyer's hand because they don't have to expose their hand, if you get what I'm saying now. Now, there's more details to that. There's a lot more. There's a lot of stuff that goes in that, but that's kind of like the easiest way to describe and give you an examples of this. All right. So I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on the situation because I know a lot of people were interested what's going to happen with Michael. Is he going to go to trial? Is he going to accept a plea deal? I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think he's going to take this to trial all the way? Especially after hiring an attorney like that? I mean, to be honest with you, if it was me, I'm not going to spend that kind of money and not take it to trial at least. What else do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? Especially if you're the one who did it. Now you might say to yourself, I mean, if he's got all this money for the lawyer, what's he gonna do with this money anyway inside of jail? Well, when you go to prison, you do need some money. Money can get you by in a lot of situations. Money can buy you protection. Money can get you things like TVs, radios, food, snacks, commissary, shoes, things like that. And not only that, things in commissary in jail or prison, especially county jail, way more expensive than it is at your local grocery store. For example, ramen noodles. You might go to the store and get a pack for what? What's a pack of ramen noodles now? I remember when I was a kid, it was like 20 cents, but I think now it's maybe a pack's like 60, 70 cents or something like that. Well, if you go to county jail and you buy a pack of ramen noodles, some county jails will charge anywhere from $1.75 to $2.75. I've even heard of $3 for one pack of ramen noodles, just one pack. So it's expensive in there. Like I said, especially in county, it's very expensive. So, I mean, me personally, like I said, if I'm going to spend that kind of money on a lawyer, he's got to be spending over 100K. Have to be. On a charge like that, he's got to be spending over 100K. So if I'm spending that much, I'm taking it to trial. Even if I did it, I'm taking it to trial because, hey, I just spent that money on you. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think he's going to take a plea deal? Do you think he's going to go to trial all the way with this new attorney? And she looks like she's decent. She looks like she's pretty good. So we're going to find out. And like I said, if you're in the medical field, type below exactly how the operative note is supposed to work because I have no clue how it was supposed to work. I never even heard of an operative note until I read what I told you guys. Okay. So I never even heard of one. I've never had an operation or a surgical procedure. So I don't know what that is. So describe below and let me know, who does the note. Is it the head surgeon? And they just said another person did the note for them. So can another person even do the note? And if so, how does that work? Thank you for watching this episode of Fugitive TV. This one's not a long one. I just wanted to give you an update for you guys who are returning. Thank you so much. You have been blowing up my channel. I appreciate it. And thanks to the members who have subscribed to the membership. Like I said, I have that video of the 448 towing with more information. Are they a front? Okay, that was just for memberships only because I needed to have that video unfiltered. And not only that, if you're new, please like, subscribe, share the channel, okay? Trust me, you will not forget it. Comment below what city you're from, what state you're from, even what country you're from. I have one viewer who's always commenting from South Africa. Yep, I remember you. I remember everybody. I know who you are, okay? Thank you so much for helping this channel blow up. I have another episode coming probably later on tonight on the trial that's going on, okay, with the babysitter, the wife, and the husband. We're going to dig into that with some things that I kind of peeped out, all right? Fugitive TV, I'm out.